Okay, switching to my GoPro for the driving demo. The camera I normally use to film crapped out on me. I've had this thing for like 6 years. Probably dropped it 600 times. But it's done. Let's see if it still turns on. There it is. See? That thing's done. Got my money's worth out of it, so I can't complain. So I filmed the instructions, the install video, with my $29.99 Verizon camera phone. Parts of it's muffled. I think it's the way I was holding it. I think I was like covering the speaker, the microphone sometimes. So the video's still watchable though. The point comes across. It's an install video. So time to get a new camera pretty soon. But here we go. Car's off. Switch is attached to the pedal. Nothing's happening because I wired the power to the fuse box, so it's only on when the car is on. So car on right now. Car in the, hot position. There you go. There's the sound. Go ahead and turn on the car. So at least the fake sound is in conjunction with the engine, so it sounds realistic. So here we go. The blow-off valve sound only comes on if my foot's more than halfway on the gas. So if I'm just driving normal, like I'm gonna pull away right now, you won't hear it when I let go of the gas, let off the gas. See, no sound. But if I'm on the throttle a little more, there it is. There you go. So if I'm only partially on the gas, it's not gonna make that sound. So if you don't want attention on yourself drawn to you, just drive normally. But if you're just fucking around, go ahead and go ahead and step on the gas a little more. So I'm really curious. I mean, I showed you guys the eBay listing, 575 sold. A bunch of people are watching this auction, and there's a lot of auctions. There's a lot of these listings. So who's buying these? That's my question. Who's actually buying these? If you're thinking of buying one, why do you want to buy one? That's the question of the day. Why do you want to own a fake turbo? Turbos are a lot more common these days. It was more of an exotic technology 10, 20 years ago. When I was in high school, one of the more popular cars was the Mitsubishi Eclipse, and the turbo one was the one to have. But a lot of people just had the RS because when I was in high school, the car was still fairly new. I didn't go to an extremely rich school. I remember a girl in my class had a Eclipse RS. Yeah, that's the base model. No turbo, hubcaps. I remember like she was trying to show off to me. She was like, this has turbo, and she was like pointing at the, how the Eclipse has that bulge on the hood. She was pointing to the bulge on the hood, and she was like, turbo. And I was like, yeah, open the hood, show me the turbo. So she opens the hood and she points at the transmission, and she was 100% serious. She was pointing at the transmission, turbo. So that was the mystique of turbo. You had to have a turbo car back when I was in high school. But I'm surprised these fake blow-off valves still exist. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I think it's the perfect mod for today's society. Today's society is faker than ever. So yeah, question of the day: why do you want one of these? Why did you install one of these? Why is it so taboo to have a fake turbo? Why is it so bad since everything's faked? All right, everyone, kick ass, be safe, take it easy, and have a great week. All right, today's video: fake turbo blow-off valve install. Last month I did a video on fake turbo whistle simulators. Here's a link right here somewhere. After I made that, I wondered if there were still fake blow-off valves on the market, and there's a bunch of them. The same red one is everywhere on Amazon, on eBay. Here's the auction right here. $28, 575 sold. So there are a lot of people buying this. This is just one auction right here. So there are people rolling with these. There are people interested in these things. How many of them want it because they want to make it look like they have a turbo in their car? How many people are doing it as a joke, like myself, and for, you know, it's for fun. I enjoy wiring stuff. It keeps the brain sharp, I think, to, you know, do projects. But here's a question. Why are fake performance parts so taboo among car guys? We live in a very, very fake society. So I would imagine this is a perfect mod for today's society. I think Facebook is the phoniest thing on earth right now. And then you got Facebook, you got reality TV shows that, you know, none of those are real. But yeah, that's a question. Think about that. Why are these so taboo? Why are fake Cobra badges on non-Cobra Mustangs so taboo? Why are turbo emblems on non-turbo modeled cars so taboo? Why are fake blow-off valves so taboo? Here's my theory. If you fake less than 3 things in your life, you're allowed to get away with this. I only fake 1 thing in my life. This is a real transformer right here. This is authentic. And this is my fake transformer. It's a bootleg. It looks real, same style box. It looks like the 80s box, but it's a total fake. See, I could admit that I have a fake transformer. But that's your thought for the day. All right, on with the install. This is wired up right now. I don't know if you could hear it, but it's constantly on negative and positive wire hooked up to the battery. It didn't come with any instructions. It came with this. It came with some mounting brackets. So what I did, I'm in my van right now. See, I like doing wiring stuff. There's solar right there. I just enjoy staying busy. But it's hooked up, positive and negative wire right there, hooked up to the battery. But the problem is it's constantly on. So I'm gonna wire it differently. And in my Saturn, which I'm installing this in, the battery's in the back. So I was gonna, yeah, I gotta install it kind of creative anyway, unless I wanna run the wires like super long. But I don't want this thing constantly on. I want it connected to a fuse, so it's only on when I turn the car on. Here's the switch. This is what's gonna attach to the gas pedal. So here, check this out. See, so when I hit the gas, and then let go of the gas, there's a sound. It's pretty damn loud. Check. All right, so here's the thing. If you buy one of these, see these connections? So if you have it on the other little, all right, see how it's hooked up right now? So if it's hooked up to this connection instead of this one, the sound comes out when you press this switch. Now I want it the opposite way. I want it to make the sound after I release the gas versus pressing the gas. All right, on to the install right now. Okay, looking at the engine here, I think the best spot to mount it, the only clear spot to mount it, is right here somewhere, using one of the brackets. So here's going to be the spot. I'm going to ground the black wire right there and then run the wires through here. I was going to go through the firewall, but I don't feel like raising the car right now, and I don't know if I'm going to leave this in. But if you want to go through the firewall, probably your best bet is to go through the steering wheel connection. Okay, here's a bracket attached. Turbo center, what the fuck does that mean? So I'm gonna enlarge these holes a little bit right here. just so I could get bigger zip ties in. They come with zip ties, but they're kind of small. So there's a spot right there where I could mount the zip ties. So all right, let's go ahead and mount this right now. Okay, these were the supplied zip ties, really skinny ones. I'm gonna use these instead, and now you should go right through. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and mount this right now. Okay, the bracket is resting on this PCM tray right here, and it's just zip tied in, kind of loose. You know what I could do? I could just drill some holes right here and drill it onto here so it's not wobbling around. I'll think about it. I'll think if I want to leave this in. So there it is. Right there. Turbo. Why is your turbo way over there and not attached to anything? Okay, I was anticipating this part. I knew, like I said, I'm not going through the firewall. I'm just going to go through the door here. I knew the wires aren't going to be long enough, so I picked up some extra wire. This black one right here, the negative, I'm just gonna ground it right here. I'm gonna take this bolt out. Is this plastic? No, it's metal. So I'm gonna take this bolt out and sand it, and that should be a good ground. So let's start off with that. Okay, I sanded this down right here, sanded the bolt down. So now there should be a good ground right here. Like I said, the battery of this car is in the back, so you know, most batteries are in the front. So if you're doing this, you could always just put this on the negative terminal of your battery. I'm just gonna ground this right here. Okay, this next part is your call. All wire is the same, regardless of the outside color. The color is just there so you don't confuse yourself. I have 50 feet of black wire right here, and that's all I'm going to use. But I'm going to start off one at a time. So first thing I'm going to extend is the power. So I'm going to hook this up to the fuse box. So I'm going to go ahead and see how much I need. Then I'm going to work with these to get them into the car. But if you want, you could get black or red, you know, extra wire that matches up with these so you don't get confused. I'm simply just going to go, you know, one wire at a time right now. Okay, here's the power wire extended. I'm going to hide it in here like that. Run it under the dash. Here's the power wire. This fell off. Fix that later. Here's a power wire right here. What I'm going to do, yeah, you should probably disconnect the battery. I don't feel like it right now. But what I'm going to do is use an add a fuse kit. This is how it's going to run. Yeah, the speaker's only going to be on when the car is on. I'm going to share the circuit, the fuse, with the stereo right there, radio, accessory, where are you at? Right there, 10 amp, right here, 10, so it's all similar. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, here's the wires stripped using the wire strippers right here. These are cheap, so get one of these. Make your life easier. All right, now I'm just gonna crimp these together. Okay, there it is, plugged to the fuse box. Add a fuse kit. Moment of truth. Let's see if this works. Okay, so it's connected to the fuse box. It's grounded. It doesn't sound like it's on. It shouldn't turn on until I start the car, have the car in the on position. Test it out real quick. Nothing. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the car on and see if it works. If it works, all that's left is extend these wires, attach this to the gas pedal. Okay, key is in the on position. Let's try it out. It works. Got it. Now to hook everything up. Okay, green wire extended here. More than enough to get under the pedal. Now I just got to get the blue. Where's my wire at? And I have plenty of wire left. Okay, all the wires are extended. Here we go. It works. Now to just put it under the pedal and test this out and clean everything up. Okay, to keep it steady, I'm just going to use a little 3M tape. There's a flat spot on my gas pedal, and then I'm just going to zip tie it to the gas pedal. This is basically to keep it steady, and the zip tie is to hold it in place. Okay, here's everything fairly cleaned up. Going through here, coming down under the carpet, and there's the switch right under the pedals. So step on the gas, let go of the pedal, and there it works. I don't think the zip tie is actually doing much. I'm just gonna probably take that off. Hopefully the 3M tape stays. So there's your fake blow-off valve install right there.